Um, what did you think about the video?
It was really, it was interesting to me because, like I told you before, there was kind of that, I was able to relate to some of it just because of the therapy session that I had been in before. But um, what was intriguing to me about the way that this therapist presented, like did the whole thing, and similar to what mine did, is how with his constant, with his asking questions, he was able to give to feedback to him and try and like he did reflective listening with them, like repeat it. He would ask them a question, get their answer, and then repeat back what they said. You know, and I think what I kind of noticed was happening with that family, and then was is by doing kind of the reflective listening, it helped trigger kind of like a thought process in their brain to kind of really help them to be able to understand each other more and be more willing to open up more because they felt like they were being understood. So that way, he was able to kind of get down a little bit deeper into the crisis that they were having.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
wrote that down too. Like, I put that he helped them clarify what they were feeling too, just because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they didn't even necessarily understand completely how they were feeling about things, or other people didn't understand. And so
Mm-hmm.
he was able to say, "So what you're saying is this, or this makes you feel this way, or whatever." It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of, for example, like when Jimmy was getting upset, like he was just like, he said his dad would get on him about being late, but then he was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, why should I care if my dad's never even home? Like, why should I have to be home?" Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's something that like they hadn't really talked about before, and they didn't realize how much it was impacting him that his dad
Yeah.
wasn't around or
Yeah, well,
whatever.
because you noticed too, like how closed up he was in the very beginning. He was very, very, not very reserved, but he was a lot more reserved, with kind of expressing, really what he was feeling about the whole situation. And then as it got kind of deeper into the session, that's what he was able to do. He was just able to kind of more be like, okay, yeah, this guy's kind of getting to the point of it, and it just kind of helped him open up a little bit more. Once, when the therapist was doing the reflective listening back and kind of pointing out, your parents don't hate you. This is what they're feeling, and he's, oh, okay, that makes sense. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, and that's something like on page 139 it said it's important to clarify members' understanding of the crisis event, and I really like
Mm-hmm.
the understanding part because, like you're saying, like, the mom views it this way, the son views it this way, the dad views it this way, and so everyone like it's kind of like the mom is doing it because she loves him and she doesn't know what to do, and
Mm-hmm.
like we said, and so he was able to help them realize your mom's doing this because she cares
Yeah.
about you, and you're doing this, and so it just
Yeah.
made
Well,
you realize that they really do love each other.
well, I think I wrote it was on. I want to say it was like page 9 or something, where he said that um, you need that one thing that a lot of families have is kind of looking at or analyzing a crisis just from their own perspective, without really opening up their minds to what other people are feeling with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Jimmy was doing, and he was just thinking, well, my parents don't understand me. They don't care about me. My sister's just trying to be another mom. Um, they just don't understand blah blah the whole teenage phase of life, which is fun. And then he but then he mentioned later that when the therapist was able to reflect back on him or repeat what his mom was saying to him, he's like, do you kind of get what your family's going through or why your parents are kind of feeling this way? It's out of active love. It's because they care. It's not because they're just trying to get under your skin. It's that they care about you. They just want to know where you're at. It's not that they're judging or saying that you're a horrible person. They just worry as a family, you know,
Yeah. No.
instead of so kind of helping him to see more of just outside his point of view on it. And
Yeah.
same with the sister. I mean, the sister just kind of thought that she was doing what was right by constantly telling on him all the time. And then she mentions at the end that it's like that in that session she kind of felt more of what her brother used to be like. and kind of understands that, there's more than one ways to, there's more than just telling on him to show him that I love him and that I care about him.
Yeah, it's like she didn't know how to handle the situation. She thought that was the only way she could really help him.
Mhm.
So it's all like it's so crazy how a lot of problems tend to be from miscommunication or lack of being able to um, express ourselves in the right way. And so really like what I loved about the therapy session is that it helps just uncover things that are hidden. I feel like
Yeah.
I think sometimes we assume people understand where we're coming from and how we feel, but we're all
Mhm.
different, and so no one completely understands unless you tell. You can't assume things, and so I feel like there was a lot of like assuming going on in the family, and he really helped people uncover.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's really common, especially within like, for me personally, like my husband and I, we've been married for about, we just had our 3-year anniversary, and I think that that's something that's really common, especially in newlyweds, is because they're still learning really how to communicate. You're still learning about each other. I mean, it's like that through your whole marriage for years. Even doesn't matter 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years down the road, you're still learning really about each other. But I think learning how each other communicates and not only communicates to you, but the way that they perceive information that's brought to them has a huge difference. Like there's times where with my husband and I, like it surprises me that something I say and then he takes it a totally different way.
Hmm.
And then there's times where it takes us trying to argue through it before it finally clicks, and gets to that understanding of, oh, okay, this is why you thought, this is why you took it this way, and this is why I reacted this way, kind of thing. Like that communication, it's a building process, really.
Yeah,
It's really good.
with the learn, which I feel like the therapist did such a good job at almost teaching him how to better communicate. And he did it so it didn't seem like he was sitting there going, "This is how you need to talk to each other" or whatever.
Mhm.
So just naturally, and just it's like I feel like they were starting to realize, oh, so I need to do this, or I shouldn't say things like this, or whatever.
Mhm.
And I just feel like because it's like what you said going to earlier, like going to a therapist can be intimidating. You're kind of like, what am I doing, or whatever. And I just felt like he made it like this is a stranger they met, and by the end, I really feel like they were almost kind of talking to a friend
Mhm.
that was helping them out.
Yeah.
And
No, I think so too. He Because I think that's what some therapists may even have a hard time doing is, or what people think is going to happen when they go into those kinds of sessions is that, we're just going to sit here and we're just going to be told what our problems are. We're going to be, um, and I mean, it's human nature. Really, people don't like to be told what to do for the most part, you know, and,
no one likes
but
it wrong.
yeah, nobody likes to admit that they're wrong ever. And so I would, the approach that he was able to do was kind of, that I, like you said, it was interesting, is that he was able to resolve it by just really just listening. He pretty much just listened. If you watched that whole thing, he really didn't give him any kind of advice at all until the last like 5 minutes of the session.
Yeah.
That whole hour's worth, he literally just sat there and just listened, and he let them work through it on their own, in a way on their own, by bringing out points and just helping them to kind of realize really what each other felt. He just kind of helped, was a guideline of getting them to communicate with each
And,
other instead
and he
of
did
saying,
that
you should
because
do this, you need to do this kind of thing.
yeah, and he did because he made him feel comfortable. It's like at the very beginning, I just love how like for example with Jimmy, he talked about like oh you like to skate, and he asked him about his favorite trick and like what
Mhm.
he did, and he took interest in what they did, and he made it so that they felt comfortable around him and that they were going to be open with him. So he would ask like a short, simple question, and then you would get a couple minutes of them talking, and then you'd ask like a short follow-up question, and then them
Mhm.
talking. So it's like what you said, that he wasn't even saying that much; he was just kind of leading the discussion.
Mhm. It seemed like he was really trying to just create an environment where they were comfortable with him because he was a total stranger, but trying to find, but because of the fact that he was trying to pinpoint and find some way to kind of connect with them, like Jimmy with the skateboarding, or, um, like the husband, like asking each one of them what they like to do, things like that. He was trying to get him. I think that was also a way of getting him to get them to trust him of saying like, it's a kind of saying it without saying, like saying you're in a safe environment, I'm not going to attack you.
Yeah.
As we try and work through this, it's like I really am just kind of I'm here to help, and really get him comfortable with that. And I think that's especially hard to do with teenagers in therapy sessions because of the fact that they're so standoffish for the most part.
Yeah. And this is on a completely different note, but something that I really liked that he did was because we read about being our belief system,
Mm-hmm.
and how that was important, and it didn't seem like, I mean, they didn't really bring it up too much in what they believed or anything like that. But I really liked how the therapist kind of threw in there. He's like, basically, wasn't saying that they needed to believe in God or whatever. He said, I believe that there's a higher power that
Mm-hmm.
helps like couples, whatever. And I really liked how he tied that in and helped. You could tell that as the couple, the mother and father were sitting next to each other, that it made them feel important. He was talking about their role and how they can help their children in a different way, and
Mm-hmm.
communicate with each other. And I really feel like they believed him on that, and that it helped boost their confidence as parents and their role and what they needed to do. And I just thought, it sounds bad. You want to say he slipped that in there really nice, but
No, I
obviously
get what you're
you're
saying.
not always necessarily talking to members of your church, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. And so it was a really nice way for him to take something that he personally feels strongly about and help them apply it to them.
Yeah. Well, because like he said regardless of your religious beliefs, he said there's um, because even with people that aren't members of the church or just people that really aren't religious, if you talk to, I mean, I've got a couple friends that um, they're not part of any religion whatsoever and stuff, but they still believe in a higher power of some sort. That there's more out there and there is a higher influence in our life, and it's just interesting to kind of see that viewpoint, um, because that is a touchy thing in any career, especially in therapy. I'm sure, like that does play a huge role in it, in some way or another. But you got to be professional about it too. You can't just
Yeah.
bust out the the teachings right there in the middle of the session. So there's kind of I agree too. I thought it was interesting how he was able to word that in there, but he did it very appropriately.
Yeah, I agree.
That was
And
cool.
there's, oh, on page 144, it talked about how it's important to learn the language or perspective of the family. And it's just,
Mm,
I mean, I thought it was kind of funny just how, like, when the kids would use, I can't think of the exact thing right now, but like they would kind of use slang words, and he would say, "Oh, so you mean this?" Like, or
yeah.
whatever. And he would like clarify, because it just made me laugh. I was like, his parents probably didn't know that's what he meant, or whatever. And
Mhm.
I just thought that was kind of funny, just to make sure that everyone was on the same page or whatever. Or like when they said, "I feel like I go crazy" or whatever, he was like, "So basically, you mean it's hard for you because you love him or whatever."
Mhm. Yeah.
And so I thought
Well,
that
I
was,
like no, it's true because he was able to point like I mean, it's different. Like it's different with genders, it's different with age. Like how he pointed out how there's um like that he was able to make that one thing with saying that there's the connective tissue difference in versus women versus men and stuff. And so when she did make a comment, yeah,
yeah,
so when she did make a comment like that, saying that, I'm freaking out, I feel like I'm going crazy all the time, and he's like, so pretty much what you're saying is you're a woman, kind of thing. Like that's so true because it really does, and I didn't even notice that until the end. It's how, it's true of how the husband and the son were, how they kind of handle stuff is that they are very standoffish and are very distant, and yet the mother and the sister are very verbal and expressive and get frustrated about the fact that when they are expressive, they
yeah.
don't really respond back.
Yeah, it seemed like they were kind of more standoffish. They only said what they felt like they had to say to guys, and so then it frustrated the woman because they're like, "I don't even understand you. I don't even know what's going on,"
Hmm.
and so it's just constant.
Hmm. I was talking to my husband about something similar to this actually the other day. We were saying how, because I do the same thing. There's times where, I let my emotions get the better of me and I just kind of spew stuff out. And he, without really justifying or explaining my reasoning why, and he's the one that points it out, and me is kind of saying, okay, but tell me, but like, what is it that makes you feel like this? What have I done? What has happened? Why is it that you feel like this, or why is it that you're like this? And then I realized, oh, I guess I really didn't say. And Of course, it creates that feeling of attacking, which is I think what Jimmy was feeling with his family. Because it's like his sister was just lashing out, saying like, I'm sure lashing out at him at times and saying that you're hanging out with the wrong people, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're just gonna get into trouble, you're gonna be like this. When deep down she's saying, I'm worried about you. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm scared.
if
Yeah.
she didn't, and he's taking it as, you're being a brat, you're trying to be my mom, you really don't care, kind of thing. And that's not what she was trying to perceive at all. She was saying, no, I really do care about you, but I don't know how to tell you without, and I care about you because I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to be like this. I don't want you to, get in trouble. I don't want you to argue with mom and dad. I don't want you to do this. And I'm not without, I mean, sure she wasn't trying to be his mom, but it's just very, it's, there's just different ways of trying that people
And
say it. And so,
this is a kind of a little off topic, but our teacher a few weeks ago I was on a discussion board or something, and she talked about like it was like we were talking about feelings, and she talked about how anger is one of the most powerful emotions, and
mm-hmm,
it's really one of the most powerful tools. And once somebody gets angry, upset, it's really hard to be able to fix or do anything. And so I feel like watching the therapist work with them, he was helping them not like feel this anger about things because when you talk about like how they acted at home with yelling at each other, whatever, anger was always involved in that or whatever. And
mm-hmm.
so it's like he helped them to be able to just step back and not get caught up in themselves and
Mm-hmm.
be able to see how other people feel and what they do because when they're caught up in that moment, it's not going to go anywhere, when there's
Yeah,
contention.
yeah, no, you're right. I didn't even think of that too. It's like he's had a way of being able to take the anger out of the room, but still get every single one of their points and feelings across. And like some of it was pretty personal stuff. Like if I was Jimmy at that age, I'd be so embarrassed to be sitting in that room, like hearing all that, like in the beginning, and hearing all that from my family saying, he does this. Pretty much every single one of them was like, we're all here for
We're
him.
here because of him, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, thanks guys, throw me under the bus, kind of thing. And so, but he was able to just take, like you said, he was able to take the anger out of it, but get the point across, just being the mediator through it, you know. And I think I think it's just more important for families to be able to try and I think that's what they have more difficult with is being able to do that without a mediator because everyone gets so wrapped up in the heat of the moment and with anger and with other emotions, sadness and stuff. It just kind of all spews out without really getting down to the core issue of what's going on. You know, so, yeah, it's a tough one to be in for sure.
I also like how he he made like sometimes when like how the mom was talking about she was crazy or whatever, we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but he made certain things that people kind of felt guilty about or were mad about feel like they were positive things in a sense, like you did this because of this, or or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he helped people. I don't want to make him say, I don't want to say like not guilty at all or whatever, but he helped them realize that their intentions were good themselves because I think people are hard on themselves, even if they're like, oh, we're here because Jimmy. The mom is being hard on herself, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the daughter's being eventually is being hard on herself, and he helped point out things. And he was able to say, yeah, we need to fix this basically, a little bit helping hint at that, but at the same time, like, your intentions are good. You love each other. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why you're doing these things. We just need to change how we're doing it, which, leads to like his plan at the end. I loved how he just came at the end and just casually just said, he just showed him this vision of kind of like where he wanted their family to go and what he wanted to do, and just gave them little assignments to do to help,
Yeah,
bring the relationship back together.
yeah. It seemed like he was able to help him kind of, like you say, not give him an excuse really, but he was able to justify it without giving them the excuse of their actions, like saying, it's okay that you felt this way. It's normal. It's a totally human and natural reaction to feel this way, and um, or just even pointing out with the husband to the wife, it's saying, you are so like you feel distant, but you want everything to be better with your son because you're like for your wife's sake, because you care about her, because you love her, and and you don't like contention yourself, um, and like you said, yeah, with the end, with how his little plan of working in, like, asking your wife out on a date, or the two of you go get a soda or something and just spend time together. It's like if you think about it, it's like those are really, it's like they're simple things that, each, it's like it's not rocket science. It's not a, prescription that he just handed out. It's just saying it's a really common, easy thing for you guys to do. You just got to realize that, that's what it's just got to take. You got to take the time and be willing to put in the time and desire to do it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, that reminded me of at the end when he was talking. I was, the little more messages that are like, "Isn't it about time?" Or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that. I was thinking, like they're so wrapped up in like Jimmy's doing this or my parents are doing that. Like
Hmm.
it's like that is their life now, and that's why things are changing. They're not focusing on other things, and so he's creating an opportunity for them to give each other the time they need, and
Hmm.
to not focus on that problem, or whatever. And
Yeah,
so
don't try and focus so much on, why this is happening or why what's going on. It's part of life because he said that about Jimmy. He's like he said he's growing up and that has to happen. So instead of focusing more on, the negative with everything, it's like just try and focus on really adjusting and understanding each other and taking the time to do that. Focus more on putting your effort and time into each other rather than analyzing each other. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, and just looking at like something we wanted to do, something that I like that he did is because obviously when the family came in, they didn't really feel like they were connected, or
Mm-hmm.
together at all. And I really felt like by him, I like when he made them switch seats and he had the parents sit together
Yeah.
and he just talk to them. And it's like he helped remind them of their role together as parents working together and being
Mm-hmm.
partners. And, going on their date and things like that, it's simple, but like it's going to help them rekindle their relationship and to be able to turn to one another and talk to each other about what they need to do to help their children and protect them, like it says, and nurturing them. And it just doesn't work unless you're working together. And so,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that they were like completely on different pages and they were like gonna get divorced or anything like that, but
Yeah.
obviously, like he'd been working a lot and they're trying to adjust, and he's kind of like it's not a big deal, and she's freaking out about it. So they need to get on the same page and
Mm-hmm.
be able to connect and to agree and to come and to be able to kind of give and take a little bit,
Yeah.
and that'll be huge because as their relationship is really good and they're working together, it will affect their kids.
No, it definitely does. And I think this is just kind of my personal opinion on it, but I think part of the contributing reason of why he made them switch seats in the first place was because if you notice, like right away, like look at their body language. As soon as the husband and wife switched seats and were able to sit right next to each other, the husband immediately grabbed his wife's hand. And I think it was important for his kids. And I think the therapist knew this is important for your kids to see, to actually like see the parents interact with each other like that because regardless of all the fighting that happens and contentions, like they really do love each other. And knowing that your parent, there's a strength that comes from that, that feeds off to the family, is knowing how strong your relationship is with your parent, that the parents have. It really does help. Um, it helps with the kids. Like I've seen it in my own family. It's like the times when my family struggles the most is really when there's conflict between my parents that they have between each other. But knowing that they like had that strong bond and like seeing like regardless of everything, they still love each other. They're a team, and they it kind of like helps reestablish that security that comes from having like parents that have that stronger relationship with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was. It's like what you said. It was so important to see them next to each other and holding hands because just from hearing
Mm-hmm.
about him being at work all the time, or whatever, they probably almost don't even see when he would get home and how he would talk to um, his wife or whatever. And so they weren't even probably really seeing a lot of their relationship anymore in
Mm-hmm.
general, just because of work and being separated. And I don't know. So I feel like it's like what you said. Reminding their kids that the family's gonna be okay. It's just it's a trial, and they're gonna get through it together. And
Well, and
I
same with
almost at
and
the
same
end,
with the wife.
they were starting to think like our family's going downhill, like
Mm-hmm.
that, And I don't think they saw like that they can be. I don't say like they used to be because everyone changes, but like they can be a happy and healthy family again.
Yeah. Well, same with the wife, because she had mentioned that she feels alone and all that because her and her husband weren't on the same page with Jimmy. Like, she was more worried all the time, and he thinks that she was overreacting. So I'm sure she said it. She said she really felt alone. So I'm sure, like, him doing that, and just even having the husband showing affection to her right then, it kind of goes without saying. It's like, I do care about you, I do love you, and I am on your side. So that therapist was a little sneaky, I think, doing that.
He's good at what he
But
does.
he's good at what he does. Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Like, well, another thing that is looking at the communication that we were talking about, it talks about collaborative problem solving, and I really liked how um, he he kind of had them negotiating in the sense of being like, if will you do this, like if they do this or whatever, and he was able to have them kind of he made them feel like they were making decisions on their own, like sharing their decisions, kind of like, you know, would you want to do this? Like committing the siblings to be able to like go out together. Both were able to. They wanted to do something together. That they were going to commit to do something together, and they shared that decision together, which I think is a big deal because how long is? I mean, they're talking about the bickering, arguing, and everything. How long has it been since they probably even agree upon anything, yet alone go do something together? And so I think
Hmm.
really help them set a goal and to be able to feel like they were making a decision together.
I think that no, I agree. I think that in families, a lot, with trying to resolve conflict, it's like a lot of the times people are more brave and fearless when it comes to, saying what they feel about it and saying that they, like that they're angry, that they're frustrated or hurt or, like how they feel in a time of crisis. But I think a lot of the times, especially to family members or just to people that we love in general, we're a lot more afraid to say what we want instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like like both. I mean, you could kind of tell, and the therapist was able to kind of bring this out to them, between the siblings. Is he's by him saying like, you miss the relationship that you guys used to have or the way things used to be, don't you? And both of them agreed on it. So, but I doubt neither one of them have ever said that to each other. Have really ever pointed out, I miss the way things were, and I want us to have that relationship that we used to have, or a better one. You know, it's just kind of that's what I kind of took a little bit from that.
Yeah, and and sometimes it's kind of like a fear or a pride thing. Like for me,
Or pride, yeah.
yeah, I mean, like something that I always struggled with was, I mean, not getting too into detail. I mean, I'm one of 8 kids, and I have some siblings that are active and some that aren't. And we were talking about the whole drug thing in the beginning, and I have some siblings that have kind of gone down that path or whatever. And I remember, I mean, I've my brother that's just under me. We're not that far apart in age, and we were always best friends. And then all of a sudden, he just completely changed.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he's saying things that are hurtful and whatever, and then it damaging your relationship. But I just remember it was so hard for me to be able to say I miss who you were, how we used to be friends or whatever. It's like part of me was like prideful and part of me was scared that he wouldn't feel the same way. But watching this, it's just like, I mean, and our relationship's a little better now. He's still struggling, but it just made me realize, watching that, like he has these feelings that are deep down inside that he's scared to share, and that with how he's feeling about things,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that he loves me, or whatever, and that he misses me, but it's
Yeah.
just to realize that how important it is to find a way to lovingly communicate instead of being so worried about what if they say this, or how's this going to make me feel or whatever, and just being lovingly honest, I would say, not just like honest or whatever. And he helped them do that. He helped them be honest in a loving way, and I
So
really.
yeah, you've seen it, you've experienced it firsthand, with your brother, like you said. Wow, that's yeah. No, it's yeah. I've got kind of that same relationship with my sister. She's the one that's closest. She's the one above me, and um, and there's a lot that she's struggled with over the years, especially like with high school years, and then into now uh, she's like 3 years older than me or something, and I'm 24, and she it's just been it's true. It's like there's been so much. I've just realized too. It's like there's so much that I would like to say, but there's always a time and place for it. And honestly, I'm scared too with it. And um, it's just one of those things. It's like, well, maybe someday I'll be given that opportunity too, but there's a time and place for it, you know. And so I think, yeah, that therapist was able to bring that out between both of those siblings, and even between the husband and the wife by, you know, because I'm sure that, like, I doubt that she's probably ever told. I bet that was the first time that her husband has probably heard that she's felt alone, and that, you know. And so I
Yeah,
think,
I agree, and that's something that say he's gonna sit there and go, "Oh no, what can I do to not make her feel that way? I don't want her to feel that way." And then
hmm
he's sitting there thinking, "What can I do better?" And so I think as everyone, if the thing is, for in order for a relationship to work, everyone has to care, right? It's like how they always say in the church, you can't give
hmm
50%. It's not 50-50, it's 100-100 kind of thing.
yeah,
And same thing with a family. And so when we're able to understand others' needs and everybody cares and wants to do that, then you're gonna have a happy functioning family. And that's what makes it hard when somebody's not giving their all, or whatever. And so,
hmm
but people can't do things for us or help us if we don't let them know, what we need. And I feel like that was the main problem because they all loved each other, but they just didn't really. It's like they weren't figuring out what everyone really needed.
hmm yeah, no, that's very, very true. Not something that you really kind of think about at all, like during the actual crisis until it's in the time of the moment, or until it's in the moment, or unless somebody else points it out to you. Yeah, because I think you just get people get so in general get so involved and so wrapped up in what they're feeling in the heat of the moment that half the time too they don't even know for sure what they want or what they feel.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
and once that happens, and people get wrapped up and they don't know what they want, they start getting confused. And then it just seems like it's so easy once it happens to be naturally negative. And just to think
Mhm.
everything's going wrong and people don't care about you or whatever. And I think he helped them have a positive outlook again. It's kind of like, oh,
Mhm.
we can fix this. Oh, we can do this. And um, just to, he helped them believe that
Yeah.
it was going to be better and that there would be more, and which is amazing how he did it. I really think, but just it's like what we've been talking about this whole semester, how important it is to be positive, and as important it is, it's just like sometimes it's hard. You think about, or like how can you get people to be, and he just did such a good job
Mhm.
at just making it just seem like, oh, everything's gonna, not like perfect, but like everything's gonna work out, like we can do this, and just very,
Mhm.
and it we realized like, wow, like I hope I can be able to learn how to be better at helping people.
Yeah. No, I'm totally like, especially after the semester and seeing it with seeing it with some people. I'm totally for. I think therapy actually can help a lot of people in more ways than they realize, because somebody who does it right, like how I think this therapist did a really good job, because he was able to be really having a mediator in some way who doesn't have that same emotional connection or emotional tie, but is able to just simply point out, take bring it all into just a reality aspect of just saying, this is, this is what you're feeling, this is what's going on, and kind of having that reassurance from somebody else that it's okay, that it's normal, and and I think that really helps more people work through it than they realize that they would. And yeah, I thought he just did a really good job all around. He pointed out a lot to him that I don't think it would have happened otherwise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree. And it's just amazing because I was just thinking, this family, like you look at the situation, and I wouldn't say it's like easy, but you're just like,
Mhm.
I don't want to say there's a lot worse things that can go on, but you just realize what that could have led to if they didn't have the help they did. Like how much we could have gone if they didn't communicate. Like maybe all of a sudden, like family, he's like, I am going to start doing those things, and I am going to move out, or you know what I mean? Like who knows
Mhm.
what can happen later on, but because of his intervention in helping them, like the different direction it can take. So it shows you how much therapy truly can help someone.
Mhm.
Thinking, wow, if this family didn't go to the session, like they would still be feeling this way and be doing these things for who knows how long. And so it's very inspiring in a sense of like, wow, I would love to be able to get in a position where I can intervene in family and in such a little way where you're just kind of being the mediator and helping them find the hope and the positive attitude that they need in many ways.
Well, and some people may think like in every, just one of those things where it's like you people need to realize, like the severity of people's situations, it's kind of this is what reminded me of it is when you said that there could be worse things, or like, there could have been worse things that could have happened. It's like you may have one person or one family that looks at this family and thinks, really, this is what they're going to therapy for, this is their problems, kind of things, like, really, why don't they try dealing with this, or what I'm going through, like this and this and this kind of thing. But to them, that really, it's like, no, it's like for every single family has something, no matter what level it is. There is something, and even if it may not seem like a big deal to the outside world or to other people, to them it is, and it has an effect to them, and there's underlying reasons than what's just being expressed to it. And I think it really takes a special person to be able to help people get down to that issue and really realize and to bring it out and bring it to life and get it resolved.
Well, it's like what you said. You're. I like how you said that sometimes things may not seem like a big deal to certain people, or it's a big deal to the family. And I think a lot of times people don't want to go to therapy because they think, oh, that means it's a huge deal, or whatever, you're really messed up or whatever. But it goes to show you just from that therapy session that like even little things, which isn't little to them, but I mean, obviously, we've heard
by worldly definition.
But that, at least to me also, like just looking at a religious aspect, how important the little things are to our Heavenly Father as well, and helping our family be connected, and how easy it is to be able to try to mess up or destroy that. And I feel like it just helped me realize that it's something that no one should really be ashamed of in any way. I mean, it's some, if you love your family, to me, I look at that family, I go, their mother, because she's probably the one who kind of initiated, because I was kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Loved her family enough, and she was freaking out enough that she was willing to do it because she cared. Like, that's why they were there. It wasn't like, fix my son. It was just like, I care about my family, and I want to know what I need to do to help them. And I feel like I just admire her for that, because it's like you said before this class, like, I kind of naturally have the attitude of, well, I hope that's something that I don't ever need to do, because it seems like, you need to do it, like it's a bad thing. And I feel like I would, before knowing all this, would be the stubborn type of person that would say, I don't need that. Like, whatever. And just watching that, I'm just like, you know what? Like, I really respect their family for going to that, and for taking that stand, and for showing how much they love and care each other for doing that.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I definitely do. Yeah, and I agree too. It's if before this class or before watching that and just witnessing it, I would have been the same way. I would have been like, heck with therapy. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna go tell a stranger my problems or our problems or what's going on. But it's really, like you said, it's like if it's somebody who's doing their job right, they really are more just helping you realize they're not trying to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So.
I like how you said that they're not telling you what to do. As you wish that all therapists were as good as this therapist. I mean, in reality. But, I mean, he really genuinely cared about them and wanted to help them understand what they need to do and to figure it kind of out almost on their own, like him helping them. And so saying, you do this, or you're messed up about this, or whatever. And if you're loving and caring, I think that's really important for a therapist to be loving and caring, because if they're just doing it because it's their job or whatever, they're not going to be able to impact the families the way that this therapist did, because he actually, he believes in being positive and helping the family connect, and that all their problems are important to him, like, and making that personal. And I mean, I'm sure that not every therapist is like that, and so it just makes you realize, what do I want to learn, or what do I need to do so that I can be a person that can help people the same way he does.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's really true. I didn't think of that.
Make sure I didn't miss anything. I mean, we already talked about their plan at the end, but I just like the quote that went along with it that I found. It's on page 153, and it says, future vision can become a positive force to break destructive patterns and achieve healthier relationships. And so we help them with this future vision, that and you could already see it breaking down the destructive patterns that were in their family. And I was just thinking, wow, he did that so perfectly. And at least from what it looks like, that they're going to start to be able to move in the direction of having that healthier relationship again with one another. Which well, I mean, like, I just love the way it ended. It was just so uplifting, just kind of like you watch this whole thing and you're thinking, oh, I can't believe they feel that way, and you kind of feel bad, and then they're just like, wow, like this family's gonna be okay, like.
Yeah. It was cool to be able to see him, really kind of get all that off their shoulders and be able to let go of some things and actually get to the point of, they really seemed like they were truly getting to the point of trying to understand each other and understand their reasonings of, why they felt the way, why they were there in the first place, and not just because of Jimmy or because of his actions. It's like, and I think that's what the therapist was able to help them realize. It's like, yeah, you guys may be here, but there's other stuff. There's things that you are feeling. It's not just we're not here to just try and fix Jimmy, kind of thing.
Everyone has things they need to change. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're here because you feel this way. You feel this way. You feel this way about your, you feel this way about your parents. You feel this way about your brother. You feel this way about your spouse. Like you said, yeah, everybody's got their own deal or their own issues to try and resolve, and was able to bring that out. So.
Yeah. Then there was one other thing that I thought was kind of interesting too. On page 936, it talked about how a timeline is useful to track the system, the relationships of past, like the past, ongoing, and possible future things, stressor events that can help their family or whatever. And I just thought he did a really good job. He was like getting to know them in the beginning, and he figured out where they used to live, what their dad used to do, like what they like to do, and then how things kind of changed once they moved. And it's like he helped them see the process of how they've come to where they are, and doing that by looking at the past and looking at those things, he helped them realize things they could do to get back to having a strong relationship by almost like breaking it down,
Yeah.
the events that have happened. So I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's cool. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I mean, when he was doing it, I was just like, he just so casually just helped him break it down, just right there. Like, that
Totally knew what he was doing.
I mean, that's pretty much what stood out to me with everything. And I mean, honestly, like, I was thinking about it, I was like, is there anything that I felt like, oh, we shouldn't have done that? And honestly, I mean, maybe it's because I'm not experienced ever, but I felt good about everything he said and everything he did. And I mean, he was sincere. He helped them make goals and to understand one another. And I was just thinking, there's not really anything I would say like, oh, he should have done this or whatever. And
yeah, I really wouldn't have done it differently if I was in that position. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a therapist. I don't know if there's like what requirements or little tactics happen, but I feel like he did it really professional, and he professionally because it is his job, but intimately as well, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, he's helping this family create a resilient family again. You know what I mean? Like he's helping them to become stronger so that when things like this happen again, they're going to know how to communicate. They're going to know how to be positive and to be flexible and to understand one another, be more open and clear about things. And like, we're not perfect, so we're still have problems, but they're going to be able to work through it better. And he's teaching them how. And so he literally, to me, I was sitting there going, wow, his goal is he's not just, oh, let's just fix this one little problem. He's creating a stronger, more resilient family. And I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I didn't think of that.
All right, I think you're good. Unless there's anything else you want to add.
Oh, I think we covered everything that I was mainly focused on, at least.
Awesome.
I think we did good. We did it.
Talk to you later.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Hey, good luck with everything.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.